Okay, so week 5 vlab 2. If you're following along in your book, this should be lab 10. When you're good, I already went and clicked on the page. Again, I'm doing this in Chrome, so bear that in mind. Also, pay attention to the submission requirements. You need to make sure you know what you're required to do. Get the lab documents so that, again, you know the steps that we're going to be doing. Review them. Once you're ready, go ahead and click on Access Lab. There's a few things to point out while this is loading. It uses Java, so you may get 2 or 3 Java pop-ups. Allow Java to run. You may get a Java is out of date. I would just verify that your Java is current. You can always go out to their website, java.com, download it. It also takes a little while to load, so keep that in mind. It does take a little while. This is the 4th time I've loaded it in the last few minutes, so my loading is actually pretty quick, but the first time it loaded, it took about 10 minutes. So just bear that in mind. So once it fully loads, we're going to navigate to our ISSA VMware Server RDP folder. They need a better name for that. We're going to be looking at our target 1 machine. If you try to move too quickly, you may get that it doesn't allow the connection. Because I just logged in and logged out. Let's try this again. When you do your initial login to this system, what it does is it powers on 3 virtual machines. It powers on the web front end that you see, then it powers on 2 backend machines that it does not like. It powers on those additional 2 backend machines, and because since I did it too quickly, it didn't have time to load that machine. It was still starting up. So once you actually do connect, we want to log in as administrator, but not our base lab v administrator, other user. We want to log in as the corp domain and their administrator. Again, password, you have to use caps lock or it doesn't always work. It's a pain in the butt, but that's the only way that I've got it to work successfully every time. If you use shift, it doesn't always work. So you may or may not get pop-ups when you log in. If you get any pop-ups, just go ahead and close them. When you're ready, go to Start, Administrative Tools. We're opening up IIS Manager, or Internet Information Services Manager. This is the Microsoft web server software. So if you're familiar with like web servers like Apache, this is the Microsoft version. So once it loads, just give it a second. It gets kind of laggy when it first launches. So once it becomes a little bit more responsive, go ahead and click on our server name. That's always a bad name. You want something a little bit more intuitive than that. So once you click on it, you should get all of these settings for the server. So we're actually going to create a server certificate. So all I did was I just double clicked on server certificate. We have the option to create a certificate request, complete a request, create a domain certificate, or create a self-signed one. In real life, you'd be probably doing a create certificate request because you'd be sending that request out to a certificate authority like VeriSign or Google's or Symantec, one of the major certificate authorities. But for our lab, we're just doing a self-signed one. Go ahead and do it as your name and go ahead and click on OK. You'll notice that it will be there. It's issued to us, by us, gives us a certificate hash, gives us a valid date to and from. But one of the negative things here is it's issued by us, which means no one else trusts it. If it's issued by a certificate authority, inherently people trust them. So that's something to keep in mind. Just go ahead and look through it just so that we can see the details of it. Here, it's the version, its issue, the dates, the subject, the keys that they use, friendly name of it. It's just a good idea to look through it just so that you know. So once we have it created, we're actually going to apply it to a site. So go ahead and expand out sites. This is the individual websites that you'd have. This website only has one website right now called default website. So we're going to click on that. We're going to be editing the binding for it. Because right now it's only HTTP or port 80. So we're actually going to go ahead and add in another one for HTTPS. Notice it will change to port 443. And we're going to select our SSL certificate. Go to click on OK. There it is again. You'll notice that it was added, port 443, HTTPS, and that's all. Go ahead and click on close. The lab says go ahead and exit out, but when you deal with IIS, one of the important things that you have to do is restart the website. Because even though we binded a certificate to that website, it doesn't always respond until we restart it. So once you restart it, doesn't hurt to restart it a few times, but once you've done restarting it, go ahead and exit out. We're going to be loading our target 2 machine. We're going to log in as student, same password, so again, pay attention to the caps lock, ISS316S, turn off caps lock, ECURITY. And it should go ahead and connect. Once it actually comes up, we're going to go ahead and open up Internet Explorer. And we're going to go to, you may get a few pop-ups about setting up Internet Explorer, just ignore them. We're going to go to HTTPS and the IP address of our web server. We don't have DNS set up or anything like that, so you have to type in the IP address, sadly. And when you go, you should actually get a certificate error. There's a problem with this website certificate. Do you want to continue? You'll notice the red X, continue to this website, which is not recommended. All that means is there's an issue with this certificate. Do you want to continue? Which we do. And it will load our IIS 7 page. So why did we get that error message? Because again, our certificate is showing invalid because we don't trust it. So if you click on the certificate, you can click on View Certificates, and you'll notice it will be issued to the web server, but issued by the web server. We don't trust that person because it's not a certificate authority. So we don't trust it. Hence the error. If it was a certificate coming from an approved authority, it would automatically be trusted because we inherently trust them. And that's actually it for this lab. But I wanted to point out a few things while I got you. So our lab work is done. Do the screenshots, do the write-up questions, but I wanted to point out one thing. If we go to Distance Education login, notice there is no HTTPS. The certificate for distance education.itt-tech.edu, it's not valid. If we go to like my portal, notice it automatically redirects you to HTTPS. This is also not valid, but it at least shows that there's a certificate there. You've got to keep that in mind. Here we're logging in, we're using credentials, but it's not being sent over HTTPS. Here, we are logging in, and we are sending credentials, but this is secured by HTTPS. So keep that in mind. This is probably just an oversight for the support staff, but you never know. Thank you. Hope you guys have a great afternoon. Goodbye.